I recently asked myself the question, what am I doing every single day in order to perform at my best? And what have helped me to get to 6 figures every single year for the last 3 years consecutively? I came up with a list of 16 things that I want to share with you in today's video. Those are things that I'm not always doing on a daily basis, but most certainly on a weekly basis, in order to help me be my best self and reach the goals that I'm setting for myself. In today's video, I want to share these 16 things with you in order to help you be your best self and set yourself up for success for no matter what goal you want to achieve next. So I would say, let's jump right in. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Arndt and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer, and I am super excited to talk with you today about the 16 different habits and routines that I have integrated into my day-to-day in order to be my best self. And since we are having 16 things to talk about and a lot of ground to cover, I would say let's jump right into the first thing. The first thing that's super important for me to do every single morning is to take my time in the morning. Number 2 is I'm never setting an alarm clock, and number 3 is that I'm sleeping about 7 to 8 hours every single day, and that's obviously all part of the same thing, right? It is incredibly important for me that I am taking my time in the morning and that I really spend some time with myself, because I think it is super easy, especially in today's world, to just give your energy out to everybody else, to check your emails and to be on social media. But it's not really good for me, and maybe not for you. It creates a lot of anxiety. It can make you feel like you're not good enough already in the morning. It can make you feel behind already in the morning. And so I have really consciously decided to separate myself from that, to distance myself from that by really spending some time with myself in the morning and to take that time. I'm never setting an alarm clock because I think it is just really important for my system to get as much rest as I need, and obviously I'm planning specifically for that as well, so I make sure that I'm going to bed at a decent time in the evening in order to just sleep 7 to 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours, and then just get up. And you might ask yourself the question, but what do you do when you have an 8 o'clock meeting or 9 o'clock meeting, which obviously happens actually on a pretty regular basis for me as well. But again, because I am knowing myself pretty well, I know I need to get to bed between 9 and 10 o'clock in the evening in order to wake up between 7 and 7:30 in the morning without an alarm clock. The next thing that I do every single morning is to drink warm lemon water. This has been a practice that I established about 3.5 to 4 years ago, and this is so important for me, and I love to drink this warm lemon water. It's kind of like this nice cozy thing now that I'm doing in the morning that really helps me to feel a little bit more hydrated and really helps me to get my day started. The next thing that I do every single morning is making my bed, no matter if I'm sleeping at my home or at my boyfriend's home, but I literally get out of bed and make my bed. And it makes me feel really accomplished, honestly, in the morning, because I just like my house to be neat and clean, and that's something super important for me. And if you learn a little bit more about habits and routines, you can also see that when you are establishing these really little mini things, mini to-dos and mini tasks in the morning, and you get to accomplish them right away, it also sets you up for success for the rest of the day as well. The next thing that I do every single morning is to practice gratitude. I usually open the Peak Performance Planner and I write down 3 things that I feel grateful for, because again, I think it is a really important practice, especially as a peak performer, because we tend to think a lot of negative thoughts and we tend to jump always at the worst possible conclusions without really realizing all of the amazing, beautiful things that are in our lives. And gratitude has really helped me to rewire my brain to think something more positively. So I really love practicing gratitude. Again, I've been doing this for about 4 years now. Sometimes if I don't have my journal with me, I just do it in my head, or I do a little practice with my partner or with a friend or a family member, and I just ask them, hey, what do you feel grateful for today? And that's a really nice way really to start the day. One thing that I do not on a daily basis but on a weekly basis is that I have no meeting days. This is incredibly important for me because I need time to be fully focused and totally uninterrupted. So I have usually Tuesdays and Thursdays where I'm not scheduling any meetings, because it is incredibly important for me that I just have time for myself and for the projects that I need to work on, because I know that if I just have one meeting or two meetings on my calendar, it can kind of throw me off and throw off my focus on concentration for the rest of the day. This is something that I established about probably 2 years ago, and it's absolutely changed the way of how I feel about my projects, but also get going on my projects, because we all know that sometimes there are these projects that we are procrastinating about. And in this way, I kind of have these days where I really don't have another excuse of, oh, I have to do this or I have to do that, but where I really just have to sit down and get going on these projects. The next thing that I do every single morning is to plan my day. I always start the day with my peak performance planner, and I write down 3 to 5 tasks that I need to accomplish throughout the day. And I also always check my calendar. This is super important for my productivity and my focus, because it really helps me to stay on track with all of the tasks that I need to get done throughout the day. Because again, we can get super easily distracted, and for me, having that list helps me to always check back in with myself. When I start to be too much on social media, or when I just go through my emails or jump from tab to tab in my Chrome browser, then I realize I'm actually not being very productive. So I have always that list that I can go back to and look onto to check myself and be intentional with where I'm spending my time. Another thing that's really important for me, it might not be as important for you, or you have a different system in place, but in order for me to be performant and be super productive and focused, is to have inbox 0. That is super important for me, because I like it all to be neat and clean, and I like to have in my inbox only the emails that still need to be actioned on. And because I really like my inbox to be 0, I always action on the things that I still need to get done. I do have a video on my YouTube channel about email management, so if you would like to maybe try out Inbox 0, I highly encourage you to watch that video and to follow the different steps that I'm sharing in these videos with you, because yeah, having a clean inbox honestly creates space in my head and in my mind to focus on other projects and things as well. So that's a super important thing for me to do as well. And then finally, kind of work related, let's talk about the thing that is really important for me, and it is really managing my calendar super proactively. I have a Calendly link in order to schedule time with stakeholders and with new clients, so they can schedule time with me, and I'm limiting that time to Mondays and Wednesdays. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, as I already mentioned earlier, I'm having some time for myself where I'm really focusing on, for example, recording my YouTube videos, writing my newsletter, working with my production team, and just really focus on other projects besides just being distracted by one-on-one coachings or just meetings in general. So then there's also obviously a lot of self-care that I practice every single day, and I've already mentioned how I'm starting my day, which is obviously also self-care, but then there's also a lot of other things that I'm doing on a hopefully daily basis. I'm trying to keep myself to that standard. Sometimes it happens that it's just on a weekly basis, but usually I do it every single day. So what are these things? Number one, I always go for a walk outside in nature, and that's obviously a little bit easier to do because I have a dog and he wants to go outside obviously multiple times a day. But I really am intentional about that. I'm trying to not be on my phone when I'm walking my dog Kobe, and I try to just really enjoy being in nature. Sometimes I go for a bike ride or I go for a run, but yeah, being outside in nature is super important for me, and I do that every single day. The next thing that I do every single day is to talk to a loved one. No matter if it is a family member or a friend, I always make time for my loved ones because they're obviously super important for me, and I think that time just flies by if you're not being intentional about how and where you're spending your time. So usually during my morning hours, when I'm starting my day without really any agenda, even if it is for 90 minutes before I have an 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock meeting, I usually try to talk to my family. So either my sister is sending me a really nice voicemail, or I'm talking to my mom, or I'm talking to my granny, or I'm talking to a friend, but it's always a really nice way for me to connect to my loved ones and spend some time with them. Another thing that I have most recently integrated into my life again is to stretch every single day for 5 to 10 minutes. I am not always as good about that as I would like to, but I have been really trying, even when I'm just working, for example, to really stretch, to really use the time when I'm writing or when I'm working on my computer. And it's just something that I can kind of do on the side, right? When I'm, for example, watching a video or watching a review of one of my videos, I'm trying to just be on the floor instead of this chair, and I'm just trying to stretch my body. I am also trying to be very intentional at the moment to go to a yoga class at least once a week, but just these 5 to 10 minutes of stretching or PT exercises is something that really helps me to stay flexible and to feel good in my body every single day as well. The next thing that is super important for me, and if you are following me on my Instagram, you know that I'm trying to do that every single day, is to take a lunch break. For some of you, this might be super normal, but I don't think actually in today's world it is kind of normal anymore that you're taking a lunch break without sitting in front of your computer. So I'm trying to be super intentional about just taking at least 30 minutes throughout my workday in order to eat and do something differently than sitting in front of my computer and working. And yeah, sometimes you see that on my Instagram. Sometimes I post a picture of my lunch at 3 o'clock, which is really, really late, and I absolutely am aware of that. But I really try to bring in my lunch breaks around 12 to 1 o'clock to break up my day and to really help my system to recover a little bit before I'm jumping into the second part of my day. Another thing that is super important for me is to have a clean house, especially since I'm working from home. It is super important for me to have a space that is clean, and I think I always spend a little bit of time in the morning as well to rearrange my house and make sure that the dishes are washed, that, you know, my laundry is done, my bed is made, small things like that. Or for example, I love to have fresh cut flowers in the house, and so sometimes I give it fresh water, or I'm watering my plants. All of these different things are part of my daily keeping my house neat and clean routine. And yeah, I really find it super important for my own mental space to have a clean house and to be able to focus on the things that I do for work. And finally, the last thing that I'm doing pretty much on a daily basis in order to perform at my best is to have some fun. As you all know, if you follow me on my social media, or if you've been watching a lot of my YouTube videos, you know that I love surfing. I have a boat here in Lake Tahoe, and this is a really, really great way to have fun with my friends and to be outside in nature. But I also love to mountain bike. I love to do all the snow activities in the winter time, of course, as well. And yeah, having fun is honestly super important to release all of the stress that you have accumulated throughout the day and make sure that you're focused and concentrated again for the next day as well. So those were the 16 different things that I'm doing almost every single day. I think besides the not having meetings every single day, this is really what I do every single day in my life, and it's really helped me to perform at my best, be focused, be recharged every single morning, and then obviously show up as my best self for meetings, for coachings, for trainings that I do with my corporate clients. And yeah, I think it's not easy to establish new routines and habits. I absolutely know that, and I am trying to keep myself accountable every single day to these things as well, because it's super important for me. And I test out different things, you know that from my Plan With Me videos that you can check out on my YouTube channel, because yeah, I really always challenge myself to experiment with new things. At the moment, I'm, for example, trying to read a book every single month, which has been somewhat successful. And yeah, I think it's just really cool to experiment with these things and see how it goes for you. If you want to learn how to actually establish a routine or how to create new habits and why it is sometimes so difficult to do that, make sure that you check out this video and this video, because both of these videos are talking about how to establish routines and habits. And yeah, I'm super curious as well to hear what you do every single day in order to perform at your best. So if there's something else that I haven't mentioned yet in the video today, I would love to hear from you. Leave me a comment down below and let us know what you are doing every single day to be your best self. And with all of that said, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I really do hope to see you in the next one. Take care and talk to you soon.